Hi, I'm just going to quickly show you some of the features and benefits of using AuditTrail to route your audits electronically as opposed to paper. It integrates with CSEC. It lets you define predefined routing matrices and send email notifications. So let me show you how to quickly install it. I'm going to open up my file manager. I'm going to browse to my share drive. I'm going to go into the AuditTrail folder and I'm going to double click the icon. And AuditTrail is aware that it's on the network, so it's going to ask you to reinstall. I'll begin download, and it is installed. So just that quickly, AuditTrail is now on my workstation. So there's the icon. I'm going to double click it to start it. It's going to go through its startup procedure, and this is the AuditTrail inboxes. Over here on the left, you can see all of the inboxes that have work. These are all the audits that are currently en route. This red indicates that these audits are overdue, and as if you look at the dates, this is 8/5. This is a rather old data set, so you can just disregard. According to the NAMP, you have a 10-day workaround to get, or a 10-day drop dead date to get these audits routed from QA through the chain of command, repaired, the discrepancies corrected, and get back to QA. This blue indicates it's a program audit. Gray indicates that the audit has been rejected, which I'll show you in a moment. And let's see what other audits we have in here. There's a work center audit. There's a special audit. So you get a visibility of all of the audits that are currently en route. And of course, they're all overdue because I'm again looking at an old data set. You can see where their current location is. You can see how long they've been en route under this age column. This is a rather old data set. And this stall indicator indicates how long this person at this current location has been sitting on this audit. It's been in their inbox for that amount of time. To open this audit, you just click the Go button, and it will open that audit. I grab the question and the overview and all of the relevant information out of the current version of CSEC, so that if the question changes over time, you'll still have a reference as to what the original question was before it changed. This is the date of the audit, the QER that did it, the work center soup, this current stop number, etc., etc. You can pull down here. These are all of the hits on this audit. You can pull them open. Corrective action, the QA follow-up, etc., etc. To sign this audit, I'm going to close this audit. I'm going to go down to one that's relatively new. I'm going to go over here to QA. I'm going to find the QA chief. The QA chief is generally one of the first ones to sign an audit in AuditTrail. So these should have plenty of stops left on them. I'm going to open up this hazmat program audit. You can see it's on stop 9. I hope you can see that. And I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like to sign an audit. Let's see if this is the last one. Yep, this is the last one. It's going to end up incomplete. I wanted to show you one that isn't going to complete, because when the audit is not getting ready to get completed, it'll generate an email to the next person in the chain of command. So let me find one that is relatively new. Let's try this ESD program manager. This audit was rejected, so as you can see by the gray, it's now at stop 3. You can see that it's rejected up here. Needs follow up by QA. So someone rejected it. The QA OIC rejected it with this comment, needs a follow up by QA, and as you can see, the QA follow up block is blank. So I'm going to put in follow up here, and I'm going to sign it. And as you can see, there are several stops left in this, and you can see the next stop is going to be the 600 division chief. This is who rejected it. This is who I'm signing it for, the ESD program manager. This is the date that I'm signing it. And this is my NMCI login. Now, I'm not actually on an NMCI machine, but AuditTrail is smart enough to know who is logged into this machine. The reason why that's relevant is because for this signature down here, I can put AT1 AW Scott Reeves. And if this last part of my signature, Reeves in this case,
matched Scott, it would accept it. But I'm going to try to sign it, and you're going to find out invalid display name. The last name must match the NMCI username. So the reason why we do this is because when you sign an audit, you want a nice looking signature. So you want to put in a decent looking signature. Now in this case, I'm going to have to put Scott in here to sign it, because it's going to have to match who's currently logged into this machine. And then you can see it's going to fire off an email to the 600 division chief. So I'm going to sign this audit, and then it's going to indicate that I need to start Outlook, so I can start the notification. So let me start Outlook. So Outlook is started. I'm going to finish processing. I'm going to click OK. You can see it's going to generate, and it's going to look up the email address for whoever the current 600 division chief is, and it's going to grab that email address, and I'll show you where that is in just a moment. And it's got CCs for whoever you wanted to have CC'd in the email, and I'll show you where that is as well. It gives you the audit number, the title of the audit, the generic message, which you can change at any time. You can add more amplifying information in here. You can edit this email as much as you like. And then when you send it, this person will be notified that they have an audit in their inbox. I'm not going to send it because I don't. This is again some old test data, and we don't want that person to think they actually have audits to do. So if we go to the 600 division OIC, 600 division QAR, there is that. Well, let's see. Now I've forgotten which inbox that went to. But you get the point. So you can find out where that, if you're the SEPMS program manager, you can see that you've got one audit that's due, and this is how you can actually work on it. So that's how you can manage your audits, work on them, get them through the chain of command. Once they're through the chain of command, they end up down here in archives. And here are all the archives. So the last stop on any routing matrix is complete, and these are all the audits that are in their history. AuditTrail keeps an infinite number of audits in its history, so you can go back, but the more audits you keep, the slower the program becomes. According to the NAMP, you're supposed to keep, the last time I looked, it was 1 year's worth of history. So if you want to purge older audits, you can either you can open them and you can print them. You can go to the tools. You can look at the, go to add-ins. You don't have the tools menu. You can go to tools, options, and on the miscellaneous tab, you could purge old data, and this will purge anything older than 24 months. So I'm not going to do that now, but that will streamline your database. And so it gets rid of old audits. Now you can print them and keep a hard copy just for your reference, et cetera, et cetera. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you where the matrices are defined. I'm going to go to, I got to go to the add-ins tab, tools, and here's the matrix management. If you have the right permissions, let's look at stops first, modify stops. These are all the stops that you can select for a matrix when you're building a matrix. Here's the email address for the person who's actually going to receive the audit notification. And this is the level of that individual. And that level corresponds to these levels here. This division, QA, staff. I broke it out by supervisors so that it just makes it a little bit easier to see. Now AuditTrail will remember which inbox you were in, so the next time you come in, it'll automatically go there. If, for example, there are no audits for the maintenance training program manager, it'll just default to all inboxes. So it's pretty easy to use. So then we go back to add-ins. I want to show you a little bit more about the matrix management. Here's how you can add a matrix. You just simply give it, it's going to create a number, you give it a name, a title, what the information you want on the routing sheet header. This still does a routing sheet if you want to print it and route it. This is just a free-form text. You can put tokens in there so that it will automatically look up.
So if you put in work center in brackets or date or quarter, it will automatically replace that token with the correct information based on the audit data. So that's how you would add a matrix. Now I will show you how to modify a matrix. So you just grab any of these matrices. Let's grab fraud prevention just for example. These are all of the stops in the fraud prevention program, and this is the header that we just talked about. You see the tokens in there. It's got the routing title, the sequence name, all the stops. Now, if I don't want the quality assurance OIC here, I simply select it. I can grab any of the stops that I want, and it will plug that in there for me. I'm just going to leave that as the QA OIC for now. These blocks here are really important. The follow-up block will, if you check this block, it will unlock, like the Fraud Prevention Program Manager, it will unlock that block in the audit so that data can be entered. No one else can enter data or change the data in that stop or in that block unless this audit was at stop 3. Same thing for the corrective action. So the corrective action can only be entered by, in this case, the 1200 Fraud Prevention Program Manager. And they also grab the signature. Now, you can have as many corrective actions as you want. You can have as many QA follow-ups as you want. Recommend that you only have one of each. But in some cases, when you're doing a program audit and you need to hit several work centers, you can have several work centers with their corrective actions so that when it gets to the supervisor, it'll unlock that block and they can enter the data. That's just for data integrity. The one thing that you want to kind of keep in mind is this signature column. When you print an audit, it's going to look at all of the corrective action signatures and it's going to print them on the audit. And typically on a printed audit, you don't really want multiple signatures on the corrective action on the cover sheet. So you only want to grab one person for the signature block, and that's the person that will show up as the corrective action. It's usually the program manager, or if it's a single work center supervisor, work center audit, you can select that work center soup. So that's what that's for. You can copy this matrix if you want to create a matrix based on this audit or this matrix. That's fine too. You need to put complete as the last stop. If you don't, the system will automatically add it, so you don't have to worry. And you can delete these, you can reorder them, you can right click and insert one before, insert after, you can delete, copy, paste, etc. So it's pretty easy. So once you get your audits, your routing matrix is built, then it's just a matter of selecting them when you go to route an audit. So let's import an audit from CSEC. We're going to go File, I'm going to go Tools rather, and Import Audits. And I'm going to update from CSEC. And this is where my CSEC happens to be living, so I'm going to hit Begin Prep. It's going to connect to the CSEC database, grab all of the data, including the question data, and the hit data, and all of the metadata that goes with it, and it's going to import them. So I'm going to close this. Now these are all of the audits that are that were in that CSEC database, and you can see there were quite a few. Now AuditTrail will keep track of audits that you've already imported from that CSEC, and you can see those by unchecking this. This CDI periodic was already already en route in AuditTrail, so we can filter those out so you don't see them from CSEC. So you don't have to delete the audits out of CSEC. AuditTrail is smart enough to know what audits have already been imported and routed. This audit control number over here, the first 4 digits is the Julian date of the audit. So this audit was performed on 6/2/52 day 90. This is meant to simulate similar to a JCN. It's a serial number. It's not exactly sequential, but it is a serial number nonetheless. You can see the work center 01 Echo, the date of the audit, and the title. And let's go ahead and import actually, let's grab this CDI periodic audit. I'm going to grab that one, 65 Bravo, done on September 1st, a CDI periodic. And you can have as many selected as you want. I'm going to import the selected audits, and AuditTrail is going to process that data. And when it's done, you'll see it has disappeared from the available audits to import. And I'm going to close this, and it will dump me right into the list of audits that are unrouted. And here's that 65 Bravo 91 CDI periodic. Now I can remove it from here and it will go back into a status as if it was never imported. So if you find that you've made a mistake, you can quickly just remove it from AuditTrail and by clicking that button before you route it. So I'm going to route this CDI periodic, and you can see it's going to pull up a dialog where I can see a list of all the predefined audits that are, or routing matrices that are in AuditTrail at the moment. You build these, and they're standard for you. AuditTrail ships with several, to start with, several O-level and I-level matrices that you can modify to your particular needs, or you can delete them or just mark them as not used. So let's see if we can find a CDI periodic in here. Nope. Let's see if I can find a 65 Bravo. Nope. CDI periodic. I don't remember the program number for it. Let me see if I can find it in here. I tell you what, there's airspeed. Let me go back and import that airspeed, 31,000. It's just so we can use the correct. Oops, I clicked the wrong button. I'm going to import that airspeed audit. Add-ins, tools, import audits. Again, update from CSEC. Click OK and close. There's that airspeed audit. So I'm going to import that one. And then I'm going to go and close this window. It'll see there's the airspeed audit. I'm going to route that. And if we remember right, it was 31,000. There's airspeed program. And this is the predefined routing matrix for the airspeed audit in this data set's example. It's got the audit number, the ACN, it's got the date of the audit, and it's got the work center 01 echo. And you can see the first one's going to be the quality assurance chief all the way on down through complete. So we're going to route this, and it's going to generate an email to the quality assurance chief, which in this case is this individual right here. Again, you can edit this audit notification email to your liking, whichever way you would like it to read, or you can just send it. I'm not going to send it again because this is just old demo data. But that audit will now, I'm not going to say my change, that audit is no longer listed as unrouted. But if we go back to, oops, I hit the wrong button again. Let's go back to the inboxes, and we go to the quality assurance chief. There is the airspeed audit that we just imported. So you can see it's 123 days old. The stall is 0 because he just got this audit. So we can open it, and as you can see, the discrepancy block is already filled in. The question is already filled in. We get the question number, the question type, who did the audit, etc., etc. There's only one hit, and the corrective action block is locked because stop 1, the quality assurance chief, does not have the authority to edit the corrective action block. It also doesn't have the authority to edit the QA follow-up block. But we've also implemented the ability to add a comment to each hit. So the quality assurance chief is verified. You can see I can add only for the audit that is the stop that I'm on. You can look at all of the comments that each person along the chain of command put for each audit. We capture comments for each hit as well as comments for the overall audit. And I'm going to click done. And you can see now that that comment is now entered by the quality assurance chief. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to sign this audit and send it on to the next person. You can see I'm signing now for the airspeed program manager, which you can see right here. And so you can see my NMCI login is Scott. Now one thing I want to point out that a lot of people don't realize is this display formatted signature is intended for printout. So ideally you would put something like, I'm retired Navy, so I'd put AT1 AW retired Scott Reeves. And that's what we would appear as a printed signature on an audit. Now, if you've got, by default, it checks for signature security so that I can't sign this audit for somebody. I couldn't put anybody else in there but me. And then what it's going to do is it's going to take the last part of this signature, this last chunk, and compare it against the last part of the NMCI login. Now, in this case, I'm not logged into an NMCI machine. I'm on my development machine. So if the last part matches Scott, it will accept the signature and move on. And as you can see, when I click sign, Reeves and Scott don't match, so I get a failure. But if I were to do this, add Scott to the end, which is really not a good formatted signature, you will see that it will accept that signature. And it will generate an email to the next person in the chain of command, in this case, Mr. White. So again, I'm not going to send that, and I'm not going to save my changes. And you can see it dumped me back into the QA Chief's inbox, and so to continue working on audits. And you can see the airspeed audit is no longer here. Now let's see if I can find the airspeed program manager. There it is. And then there's the audit that we just created, the one that we just routed. So we can go here, we can open it, we can see the QA Chief's comments. Now you can see the corrective action block is installed, corrected, or is unlocked rather, excuse me. Corrected discrepancies, you probably want something a little bit more verbose than that. Again, QA follow-up is not unlocked, so I can't change anything up for the QA follow-up block. I'm going to sign this one again, and you can see the next one's going to be the airspeed program monitor. So again, I'm just going to put Scott. You can just put your NMCI username in there if you want, just so long as, again, the last chunk matches this NMCI login. And if my NMCI login was Scott.Reeves, it looks at the last chunk after the dot. So in this case, it would find Reeves, and if the last part of the signature said Reeves, it would match. It's not case sensitive, so it doesn't make any difference. But in this case, they have to match, so they're going to sign. Now this audit is going to go into the airspeed program monitor, which is next. You can see it's a little bit hard to read. The block isn't quite big enough, but you can see it's going to go to the airspeed program monitor. Here I'm signing for the manager. So I'm going to sign this audit. It's going to create the email notification. I'm not going to send the email. And you can see now that audit is now gone. Now let's see if I can find the airspeed program monitor. There it is. There's the airspeed program monitor. You can see there's one audit here. That's the program number. That's the title. This is the audit we've been working with. So I want to show you rejecting an audit. Let's say I am the monitor and I don't like corrected discrepancies. It's just not sufficient to give to answer this discrepancy. So I can actually go up to open audit. In your case, it's going to say add-ins. Open audit, these buttons don't appear on an NMCI. I'm working on trying to get those to appear, but so far I think there's an NMCI group policy that's preventing these from showing up. But the buttons will all be the same in an add-ins tab is what it will read. So I'm going to reject this audit. Yes, I'm going to reject the audit. I can reject this all the way back to the QA chief or anybody before me. I'm going to reject it back to the program manager, and I'm going to write insufficient corrective action. So I'm going to reject that audit. He's going to get an email notification saying that there's an audit for him to work on. Again, I'm not going to send this notification. And now, as you can see, there is no longer an airspeed program monitor inbox because there's no work for him to do, so it defaulted to all inboxes. But if we look here at the program manager, there's two audits, and you can see now this one's gray. Gray indicates that it's been rejected. So I can go in here, I can see why it was rejected up here. Insufficient corrective action. It was rejected by the airspeed program monitor. So, and then again, it unlocks the corrective action. And I'll put more info here just for demonstration purposes. Now I'm going to go back and sign it again. And I'm going to put Scott in here for the signature. And again, it sent an email notification. You can see that audit no longer exists here. I can go back to the airspeed program monitor. You can see it still shows as rejected because it won't show unrejected until the person that rejected it, this airspeed program monitor, actually signs the audit. So let's assume, let me put a comment in here. Where's my comment? Add a comment. You can see it unlocked only the program monitor comment block. And I'll just put comment block here. I'm going to add that to done. And you can see that it just grows the list of comments for everybody that's in this routing matrix. Now I can also put a comment on the cover sheet by going to the cover sheet, and I can add cover sheet comment. So if you were to print this audit, this would then appear on the cover sheet that we're used to from printed audits. And I'm going to go ahead and sign this. I'm going to sign it. You can do spell check. You can move through the different hits. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a QA follow-through. Now, the QA follow-through is intended as, again, you have a constraint to get an audit through the chain of command within 10 working days. Sometimes we don't want to slow down an audit getting completed because we're waiting on some other action to happen, such as, say, a billet description needs to get routed through the chain of command. There's no sense in holding up an audit while we're waiting for that billet description to come through. So if I wanted to, I could add a QA follow-up. I could pick a date, the January 27th. I can assign it to AT1 Reeves as the QAR follow-up, and I'll show you where that's going to be. So then this particular hit will get associated with a QA follow-through. Not the whole audit, just this one hit, and I will demonstrate that in just a moment. But I'm going to go ahead and sign this audit. And I'm going to put Scott, and you can see it's going to now go to the airspeed officer in charge. So I'm going to sign this. It grabbed the OIC. I'm not going to send that email. And we should be able to find, and there's under division, they put the airspeed OIC under division. There's the audit. You can see it's no longer gray. I can open it. You can see it's no longer rejected up here. You can see all the comments, etc., etc. Now, when it gets to the QA follow-up block, this block will be unlocked, and we can continue to route it through the chain of command. Once again, it gets to the last audit. Let me show you the last stop in the audit. We get to the stop 9. You'd sign it for stop 9. It would go into the complete stop, which then is the equivalent. Well, it's not the equivalent. It is the archives, and I'll show you that. Oops, I keep clicking file. I can open the archive here. And these are all the archived audits, but the proper way to do it, I keep clicking the wrong button. And now I'm going to close AuditTrail. I'll reopen it. If you were in the inboxes, the archives are at the very bottom. So you can print the archives, look through the archives, find the ones you're interested in, etc., etc. There's a button down here, run a trend analysis report. Work Center 05 Echo. And let's see if that pulls up any data. Nope, there's no data. So let me pull up, what was airspeed? Airspeed is, oh, it's a program, so it's 31,000. So you can pull it up by airspeed, by a program audit, by a program manager. Let me zoom in here. And you can see the work center that was affected, the area, which is the program area in CSEC, the date of the audit. So this is all of the history of the discrepancies for that airspeed program that you can kind of see. And the advantage of this is you can, if let's say for example you were following up doing an analysis on how we're doing on the airspeed program, you can kind of look and see, this is 2 pages, you can kind of look and see some of the historical discrepancies. This is really valuable for QARs going down to do a program audit or a work center audit. They can look at the history of a particular work center and see if they are consistently having issues with a particular area tool control or what have you. So that's very useful, and that's all in the archives. I wanted to show you that scheduled QA follow through. If we look at this airspeed audit right here, this is the one we were talking about. It's assigned to me, and you can see people aren't putting QA assigned in a lot of these in this example, but I can go here, and it's going to open up that one hit, and I can put my QA follow up here, follow up. Now again, this opens up the QA follow-up block because it's a QA follow-through, but it would also be unlocked in the chain of command in the routing matrix for the QA follow as you're building the audit routing matrix. So you can see it's pretty easy to do. You hit the QA follow-through, sign it. Pardon the noise, and now you can see that is good to go. So that should have refreshed. Why did it not sign it? Okay, I must have hit the wrong button. So anyway, you can see the airspeed audit is now no longer in the scheduled QA follow-through. So these are the things that QA needed to follow up on again at any time and say, you know, what's the issue? It was corrected, etc. QA follow-through date when it's due. The QA assigned. They didn't use that particular field. This is hit 2 on this audit number. So you can look at the comments for the chain of command for this hit, if there are any. In this case, there are not. And these are the cover sheet comments, and you can see there are some cover sheet comments for this particular audit. So we go back to close. What else do I want to show you? That's pretty well it. Let's see if there's anything under here that I need to show you for the features and the benefits. There's the routing we talked about. There are several reports in here. You can do the most recent hits by division, 365-day NAMP count by area, most frequently hit CSEC questions. That's sometimes an interesting, I think I just printed that on my printer. I did. It's going to print on my printer, so you can see what we're falling down on. It's good for us to do that before an AMI inspection. Again, you won't see these AuditTrail reports and tools tabs. Everything you see is under the add-ins tab. Oh, I didn't show you the user manager. These are all the email addresses for people that have logged in. These are how you give them permissions. This lets them get into the options dialog, which allows them to modify matrices and stops. This allows these people to import audits. These people can modify the matrices. The developer will only show me if I'm even in here. I am in here as a developer. Nobody else will get developer. And if you try to check developer, it will next time you start up AuditTrail, it'll clear it out. And all that does is it allows me as the developer to get through to some of the inner workings of AuditTrail so I can debug issues and fix things. Now, editor, they've got quite a few editors checked. Editors is a pretty important permission, and what that will do is it will allow these people to open an audit and edit anything in it. And so you want to be very careful who you give editor to. I recommend only giving it to 1 or 2 people. It's designed to, if you see a typo in a discrepancy or something like that, and you don't want to reject it back to the CSEC database and then re-import it, you can go in and it'll unlock every block in the audit. And so you kind of want to be very judicious with who you give editor to. Developer nag, that's deprecated, it's no longer used. Email nag, if you may have noticed that I never got a warning that Outlook was going to send a message. You can, but if you're not listed in here, it'll warn you that Outlook is going to start or it's going to send an email. Not to worry, it's not it's not malware. If you don't want to see that dialog again, you can just check it. This is their email address. And so that's the matrix manager. You don't, or the user manager, you don't have to put anybody in here except for perhaps the people that you want to give specific permissions to. So not to worry. I do want to show you one more thing, and let me go into add-ins where you can see it. So here's how you can edit an audit. I'm going to edit 612713. And now you can see that every block in here is unlocked. So you want to be very careful who you give editor to. I get it because I'm a developer. And so you can change the question. So you, again, you want to be very careful who you give this to, because that's going to let them unlock any block in here except for the comments and make changes. So it violates data integrity, but in the event that you need to make a quick, somebody put a typo in, should have been Workcenter 730 instead of 731, you can quickly fix it. So don't give that to just anybody. And so we go back under, add-ins, tools. I want to show you if someone changes offices, you can modify their stops. These are all the stops that are listed in here. When you select them from the routing matrix, these are the email addresses that get associated with it. So if let's say Gunny Kriebel is no longer the QA maintenance officer, or the tire and wheel maintenance monitor, you can change it to whatever email address you want. You can put semicolons in here and put multiple email addresses if you want. I don't know if anybody's done that. Let me look and see. I thought I saw some with multiple email addresses. So here's one. Complete doesn't get an email address, although you could assign somebody to be notified if something goes in the archives. Maybe your QA LPO, if he wants to print an archive just for audits. You can run an empty email report to make sure there aren't any holes. You can do a stop email report that'll basically just print the screen so that you can verify that all the email addresses are correct, and you can click done. And so that is a whirlwind tour of AuditTrail. As you can see, it's a very useful, very powerful program. It directly ties in with CSEC. I make sure that every time a CSEC gets published quarterly, that I double check it, make sure that they haven't changed the internal workings, so this will all work. And that's the short version of AuditTrail. So I hope you find this useful. I hope you find that. Oh, there's one other thing I wanted to point out. A lot of people don't use. You can click this button here on this audit, and you can see the full. This is the cover sheet, et cetera, as if you had printed this out from CSEC. I tried to emulate these reports to make them look exactly like CSEC. But one thing I wanted to point out is, for example, I know this is an old data set. This stall, this stop has been sitting on this audit for 110 days. If you hit this red exclamation point, it'll generate an email with the relative information of that person, and you could say, get to work, or whatever you wanted to do, to remind them that they've got audits that are overdue, that are sitting there waiting on them to be processed. Anyway, that's the whirlwind tour of AuditTrail. If you have any questions, please send them to scott@sanddigital.tech or scott@bluejacketsoftware.com. If you have any issues with AuditTrail, if you could send them to support@bluejacketsoftware.com or support@sanddigital.tech, that'll generate a service order for us so we don't lose track of your audit issues. So I hope this was useful. I hope it was informative. I hope you download the demo. It's good for 60 days for you to get used to and to figure out if it's going to be a good fit for you. So any questions, give us a call, 480-427-0391, or send us an email. All right? Have a great day. Thank you, shipmates.